Meet me on page 333.
Yeah, it's my boy.
Very satisfying page to start on. You're Horatio. Yeah, but we might need to.
No, that's me. That's me. I'm Roger.
Senior,
We're gonna try.
I
We're gonna
call
try.
it. Yeah.
I called dibs.
It depends on how quick it's dig.
I'm gonna need you to sit back.
I called dibs when I first heard about Robin Williams.
You need to sit here. Hard trust.
Alright, folks, let's all meet us on page 333. This is Act 5. This is the middle of the night. Remember, we're doing that bookending thing. We started the play in the middle of the night. Now we're ending the play, beginning of Act 5, in the middle of the night, in a graveyard. Act 5, Scene 1, a churchyard. Enter Gravedigger.
Yeah.
And another.
And the wearing his t-shirt.
Take it away, please.
She should be buried in Christian burial, and she so willfully seeks her own salvation.
I tell thee she is. Therefore, make her grave straight. But crowner hath sat on her, and finds Christian burial.
But how can it be? Unless she drowned herself in her own defense.
Why 'tis found so?
It must be that. It must be in Se off addendo. It cannot be else. Okay. I mean, here lies the point. If I drown myself wittingly, it argues an act. Now, an act hath three branches: to act, to do, and to perform. Our gal, she drowned herself wittingly.
Nay, but hear you.
Give me leave. Give me leave. Okay. Here lies the water. Good. And here lies the man. Good. Now, if the man go to the water and drown himself, it is will he nil he goes. Mark you that. But if the water comes to the man and drowns him, he drowns not himself. Our gal, he that is not guilty of his own death, shortens not his own life.
But is this law?
Aye, marry, is it? Crown is quest law.
Co-workers.
Will you have the truth on it? If this had not been a gentlewoman, she should have been buried out of Christian burial.
Aye, why there, thou sayest. And the more pity that the great folk in this world have countenance to hang or drown themselves any more than they're in Christian. Come, give me my spade. There are no ancient gentlemen than gardeners, ditchers, and grave makers. They hold up Adam's profession.
Is he a gentleman?
Why, he was the first to bear arms.
But he had none.
What? Art thou a heathen? Dost thou not understand the scriptures? The scriptures clearly say Adam did. Could he have digged with no arms? I'll put another question to thee. And if thou not answerest to the purpose, confess thyself.
Go to it.
Okay.
Huh?
What is he that builds stronger than either the mason, the shipwright, or the carpenter?
Gallows maker.
I like that word well, in good faith. The gallows does well, but how does it well? It does well to those that do well. Now, thou dost still to say the gallows is built stronger than the church. On account the gallows may do well for thee.
Who
Do it again. Come.
Who's stronger than a mason, a shipwright?
Ah, tell me that in unyoke.
Mary, now I can tell.
Do it.
Mass, I cannot tell.
Okay, and then enter Hamlet and Horatio. So Joey and I are kind of like sneaking in. Hamlet just got off a boat. He's happy to be back in town, but they're in a graveyard in the middle of the night.
Cudgel thy brains about it no more, for thy dull ass will not mend his pace with a beating. And when you answer this question next, say, the grave maker. But as he builds, lasts till doomsday. Go. Hit the end and fetch me your steeple later. Great job, Luke. In youth, when I did love, we thought it was very sweet to contract the time for my behoved. And we thought there was nothing meet.
Has this fellow no feeling of his business? He sings in grave making.
Custom hath make it in him a property of decentness.
'Tis even so, the hand of little employment hath the daintier sense.
But age in his stealing steps hath clawed me in his clutch, and hath shipped me into the land, as if I had never been such.
Do we have a
Here's the skull.
We need a skull.
Oh.
Go,
That's-
Joey, give this to. Guys, this is the scene with the skull. We're all wondering, like, when is the skull gonna happen? This is it. That skull had a tongue in it, and could sing once. How the knave jowls it to the ground as if it were Cain's jawbone. That did the first murder. This might be the pate of a politician, which this ass now overreaches. One that would circumvent God, might it not?
It might, my lord.
Or of a courtier, which could say, Good morrow, sweet lord, how dost thou, sweet lord? This might be my lord such a one that praised my lord such a one's horse when he went to beg it, might it not?
Aye, my lord.
Why, even so! And now my lady worms chapless and knocked about the mazzard with a sexton's spade. Here's fine revolution, and we have the trick to see it. Did these bones cost no more the breeding to buy, but to play at loggers with them? Mine ache to think on it.
A pickaxe and a spade, for and a shrouding sheet, a pit of clay for to be made, for such a guest as meet.
There's another. Why, may not be that be the skull of a lawyer? Where be his quiddities now, his quilities, his cases, his tenures, and his tricks? Why does he suffer this mad knave now to knock him about the sconce with a dirty shovel, and will not tell him of his action of battery? This fellow might be in his time a great buyer of land, with his statutes, his recognizances, his fines, his double vouchers, his recoveries. Is this the fine of his fines and the recovery of his recoveries, to have this fine pate full of fine dirt? Will his vouchers vouch him no more of his purchases, and double ones too than the length and breadth of a pair of indentures? The very conveyances of his lands will scarcely lie in this box, and must the inheritor himself have no more? Ha!
Not a jot more, my lord.
Is not parchment made of sheepskins?
Aye, my lord, and of calves' skins too.
They are sheep and calves which seek out assurance in that. I will speak to this fellow. Whose grave is that, sirrah?
Mine, sir. A bit of clay for to be made, for such a guest as meet.
I think it be thine indeed, for thou liest in it.
You lie out on it, and therefore it is not yours, but I do not lie in it, and yet it is mine.
Thou dost lie in it to be in it, and say it is thine. 'Tis for the dead, not for the quick. Therefore thou liest.
Well, does a quick lie, sir, 'twill away again from me to you.
What man dost thou dig for?
Well, for no man, sir.
What woman then?
For no woman either.
Who is to be buried in it?
Well, one that was a woman, sir, but rest her soul, she's dead.
How absolute the knave is, Horatio. We must speak by the card, or equivocation will undo us. By the Lord, Horatio, this 3 years I have took note of it. The age is grown so picked that the toe of the peasant comes so near the heel of the courtier, he galls his kib. How long hast thou been a grave maker?
Well, of all the days I came to it, it was that day that I last King Hamlet or King Formbros.
How long is that since?
Cannot you tell? Every fool can tell you that. Aye, it was the very day our young Hamlet was born. He is mad and sent into England.
Aye, married. Why was he sent into England?
Well, for he is mad, and will recover his wits there. Oh, if not, it is no great matter.
Why?
Well, it will not be seen in him there. Sir, it's fucking England. They say the men there are as mad as he.
Says that. How came he mad?
Very strangely, they say.
How strangely?
Well, faith in losing his wits.
Upon what ground?
Why, you're in Denmark. I've been sexton here, man and boy, 30 years.
How long will a man lie in the earth ere he rot?
Faith, if you be not rotten before he die, as we have many pocky corpses nowadays that can scarce hope of laying in, it'll last you some 8 year or 9 year, Kind of lasting 9 years.
Why he more than another?
Why, sir, his skin is so high. His skin is so tanned with his trade, Mary, that he keeps the water out a great while. And your water is a sort of care of your horse undead body. Ah! Why, here's a skull now. It's lying on the earth some 23 years.
Whose was it?
A horse and mad fellow's it was. Whose do you think it was?
Nay, I know not.
Pestilence for a mad rogue. Poured a flagon of Rhenish on my head once. Why, this same skull, sir, was Sir Yorick's skull. King's jester.
This?
You know that?
Alright, folks, and you were wondering, at what point does Hamlet give a speech holding a skull? Let me see. Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio. I know him. A fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath bore me on his back 1,000 times, and now how abhorred in my imagination it is, my gorge rises at it. Here hung those lips that I have kissed I know not how oft. It's 2 hands for this one. Where be your gibes now, your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment that were wont to set the table on a roar? Not one now to mock your own grinning, quite chapfallen. Now get you to my lady's chamber and tell her, let her paint an inch thick, to this favour she must come, make her laugh at that. Prithee, Joey, tell me one thing.
What's that, my lord?
Dost thou think Alexander looked to this fashion in the earth,
E'en so.
and smelled so? Pah!
E'en so, my lord.
To what base uses we may return, Horatio. Why may not imagination trace the noble dust of Alexander till he find it stopping a bunghole?
'Twere to consider too curiously to consider so.
No, faith, not a jot, but to follow him thither, with modesty enough and likelihood to lead it, as thus. Alexander died, Alexander was buried, Alexander returneth to dust, the dust is the earth, of the earth we make loam, and why of that loam whereto he was converted might they not stop a beer barrel? Imperious Caesar, dead and turned to clay, might stop a hole to keep the wind away. Oh, that the earth which kept the world in awe should patch a wall to expel the winter's flaw. Alright guys, really quick, these are called couplets. Hamlet's spitting bars. Enter King, Queen, Laertes, Lords, Attendant, and the corpse of Ophelia with our old Doctor of Divinity.